It is a warm evening in August 1969. You are walking along a quiet street in St. John's Wood, in the northwest of London. The houses here are set back from the pavement behind low walls and hedges, their gardens hidden, their windows beginning to glow with lamplight. The trees that line the street are old and full, their leaves dark green and heavy with the end of summer. The air is warm and still. It carries the faint scent of cut grass and cooling stone. The sky above the rooftops is turning from pale blue to a deep, soft gold. London is settling into evening, slowly, the way a city does when the days are long and the warmth lingers. You walk without hurry. You know where you are going. St. John's Wood is a residential neighborhood, quiet and well kept. The houses are Victorian and Georgian, built of pale brick and cream-colored stucco. Iron railings edge the front gardens. Window boxes hold geraniums and trailing ivy. A black cab passes at the end of the road, its engine a low, familiar rumble that fades quickly into the evening air. Somewhere nearby, a door closes softly. A dog barks once and falls silent. These are the small sounds of a London neighborhood preparing for night. The pavement beneath your feet is smooth and even. Your footsteps are the steadiest sound on the street. You pass beneath a street lamp that has just come on, its light a pale amber circle on the grey stone below. A garden gate stands half open as you pass, and through it you catch a glimpse of roses, pale in the fading light, their petals heavy with the day's warmth. The scent reaches you, sweet and faintly spiced, the particular fragrance of English roses in late summer. A sprinkler has been left running somewhere nearby, and you can hear the soft, rhythmic pulse of water striking grass. The houses here were built for quiet lives, for Sunday papers and afternoon tea, for children playing on green lawns. It is the kind of neighborhood where nothing dramatic happens, where the days pass gently. And yet, just ahead, behind the white facade of a Georgian house, the most dramatic music of the century was being made. The ordinary and the extraordinary, side by side, separated by a garden wall. You reach a junction where the road meets Abbey Road, and there, painted on the tarmac, is the zebra crossing. White stripes on dark asphalt, glowing faintly in the evening light. In a few weeks, a photographer named Ian Macmillan will stand on a stepladder in the middle of this road and take a photograph that the whole world will know. 4 men walking in a line across these white stripes. But tonight, the crossing is empty. The road is quiet. You step onto the first white stripe and walk across slowly, feeling the slight rise of the paint beneath your shoes. The air is still. The trees on either side of the road stand motionless. You reach the other side and pause. Before you stands a white building, a Georgian townhouse built in 1831, its facade elegant and symmetrical. Tall windows, a simple front door. It looks like a large, comfortable home, the kind of house where a prosperous family might have lived a century ago. 9 bedrooms once. But this house became something else. In 1931, the gramophone company converted it into a recording studio, and the building has held music inside its walls ever since. The garden behind the house allowed a much larger structure to be built to the rear, so the modest Georgian front hides something far bigger than it appears. Number 3. Abbey Road. You stand before it in the warm evening light and feel the weight of what this place has witnessed. The front door is ajar. You push it open and step inside. The hallway is cool after the warmth of the street, and your skin registers the change immediately. The ceiling is high, the floor polished. The air smells different here. Old wood, furniture polish, and something faintly electrical. The warm scent of equipment that has been running all day and is only now cooling down. The walls are lined with framed gold and platinum records, their surfaces catching the low light. You do not stop to read the names. You know whose names they are. The hallway stretches ahead of you, deeper into the building than the facade suggested. The Georgian front door is already behind you. You are inside now. The corridor is long and quiet. The polished floor reflects the low ceiling lights in soft, blurred lines. Doors appear on either side, some open, some closed. Through one open door, you glimpse a storage room. Shelves stacked with tape boxes, their spines labeled in neat handwriting. Through another, a small kitchen with a kettle and cups. The ordinary infrastructure of a place where people work long hours. Tea and tape. The building is larger than you expected, extending far back from the street. Rooms opening into rooms, corridors turning into other corridors. It is a place that grew over decades, room by room, as the music demanded more space. Your footsteps are soft on the polished floor. You pass Studio 1, the largest room used for orchestral recordings. The door is closed. You pass Studio 3, the smallest, where the Beatles mixed and overdubbed when Studio 2 was occupied. Its door is also closed. Each room holds its own particular silence, its own history of sound. You can feel it through the doors. Not vibration, not noise, but a kind of density, as if the air inside has been permanently altered by the music it has carried. You are looking for Studio 2, the room where nearly every Beatles song was born. The room where 4 young men from Liverpool sat and stood and sang and played year after year, until the music became something no one had ever heard before. The corridor narrows slightly as you go deeper into the building. The ceiling lights become fewer, the pools of light farther apart. You pass a notice board pinned with session schedules, dates, times, artist names written in pen. Some of the names you recognize, some you do not. This building does not belong to one band, however famous. It belongs to music itself, to decades of musicians who walked these corridors carrying instrument cases and cups of tea, who sat in these studios and gave the best of themselves to a microphone. The schedule for this week shows sessions running late into the evening, every day. The building works long hours. It has always worked long hours. Music does not keep to office time, and here it is. a door slightly heavier than the others. A small sign that reads Studio 2. You rest your hand on the handle. The metal is cool and smooth. Behind this door is the room where She Loves You was recorded, and Yesterday, and Strawberry Fields Forever, and A Day in the Life, and Here Comes the Sun. Behind this door is the room where the sound of the 1960s was made. You turn the handle. The door swings open. A breath of cool, slightly damp air reaches you. The breath of a basement room with 24-foot ceilings. A room that has been holding music all day and is only now exhaling. You step through. You stand at the top of the wooden staircase. It is wide and solid, built during the 1957 remodel when the control room was moved upstairs. The banister is smooth under your hand, polished by decades of palms sliding along its surface. Engineers, producers, musicians, all of them touched this railing on their way down to the studio floor. The wood is dark with age and use. The stairs descend before you in a gentle curve, each step broad enough for two people to walk side by side. Below, Studio 2 opens up, vast and dim. The ceiling lights are turned low. The room waits. You begin to descend. Each step announces itself with a soft creak, a sound so familiar to this building that it has become part of its silence. Your hand trails along the banister. The air grows cooler as you go down. Studio 2 is in the basement, below street level, and you can feel the temperature drop with every step. The warmth of the August evening is above you now, on the other side of the Georgian walls. Down here, the air is still and cool, the particular coolness of stone and earth and old foundations. The staircase turns. The studio opens wider beneath you. You are descending into a room that has held more music than almost any other room on Earth. Your feet reach the studio floor. Parquet wood laid in a herringbone pattern, worn smooth by years of footsteps, cable drags, and the weight of heavy equipment rolled across its surface. The floor is cool through your shoes. You stand still and look up. The ceiling is 24 feet above you, lost in shadow. The room stretches 38 feet wide and 60 feet long. It is not the largest recording studio in the world, but it may be the most important. The dimensions were chosen for their acoustic properties. The height gives the sound room to breathe. The width lets it spread. The length gives it somewhere to travel before it returns. You walk slowly across the parquet floor, feeling each board beneath your feet. Some are slightly raised, others slightly sunken, the natural settling of wood over decades. The herringbone pattern leads your eye in long diagonal lines toward the far walls, where the floor meets the skirting boards in shadow. Here and there, small marks are visible on the wood, scuff marks from heavy equipment being moved, faint circular impressions where microphone stands have rested in the same position for session after session. The floor is a map of use, a record of every arrangement of musicians and instruments that has ever occupied this space. You kneel and press your palm flat against the wood. It is cool and smooth, and it holds the faintest vibration, as if the building itself has a pulse. The smell reaches you fully now. Old wood, the parquet floor, the staircase, the acoustic panels, warm electronics, the residual heat of amplifiers and valve equipment that has been switched off but not yet cooled. And beneath these, something older, something that belongs to the building itself. A faint dampness, the smell of a basement in a house that is nearly 140 years old. Stone foundations, earth beneath the floor. It is not unpleasant. It is grounding. It reminds you that this room, where the future of music was invented, sits in the basement of a house built before the invention of the telephone. Microphone stands rise from the parquet floor. Tall, thin, silver. Neumann and AKG microphones mounted at different heights, each one positioned with care and left exactly where it was when the last session ended. No one has moved them. They stand like sentinels, frozen in the act of listening. Cables run across the floor in neat, taped paths, connecting the microphones to wall boxes that feed up to the control room. Music stands are scattered among the microphone stands, some still holding sheets of handwritten notation. You step closer to one and see pencil marks, chord symbols, a crossed-out bar, an arrow pointing to a repeat sign. The handwriting is quick and confident. You walk to the center of the room. The parquet floor is slightly warmer here, where the studio lights overhead have been shining down all day. You stop and stand still. The room is so large and so quiet that you can hear your own breathing. The sound rises, touches the high ceiling, and returns to you a fraction of a second later, softened and rounded by the journey. You clap your hands once. The sound is extraordinary. It blooms outward, fills the room, and then fades in a long, smooth decay that seems to last for seconds. This is the sound of Studio 2. This is what the microphones hear. This is the air that shaped 1,000 songs. Absorbent panels line sections of the walls, placed at careful intervals to control reflections without killing the room's natural warmth. Above you, the ceiling is covered in a grooved paper fiber material that catches and softens the highest frequencies. The room is not dead. It is not an anechoic chamber. It is alive, but controlled. It has a voice of its own, a gentle warmth that wraps around every sound made within it. Engineers spent years tuning this room, adjusting panels, testing positions. The acoustics of Studio 2 are not an accident. They are a craft, refined over decades, as careful and deliberate as any piece of music recorded here. Along one wall, a row of tall acoustic screens stands on casters. They are movable baffles, 6 feet high, covered in sound-absorbing material on one side and reflective hardboard on the other. Engineers would wheel them into position to create temporary walls around a musician, controlling how much of the room's natural reverb reached each microphone. The screens are arranged in a loose semicircle, left from the last session, creating a small enclosed space where a singer or a guitarist could sit and play in a pocket of controlled sound, while the rest of the studio breathed around them. You step inside the semicircle. the sound changes immediately. Quieter, closer, more intimate. A room within a room. Near a music stand, a wooden chair sits at a slight angle, as if someone stood up and pushed it back without thinking. A pencil rests on the ledge of the music stand, balanced at the edge, ready to roll off at the slightest touch. You pick it up. It is a standard yellow pencil, sharpened to a fine point, the eraser worn down to a thin pink nub. Someone used this pencil to write notes on the sheet music in front of it. A chord change, a lyric correction, a small mark that says, "Play this part softer." You set the pencil back where you found it, carefully, as if preserving evidence of something important. Because it is. You look up at the wooden staircase from the studio floor. It rises along the right-hand wall, broad and steady, climbing to the control room above. The control room window glows faintly. A rectangle of dim light high on the wall, like a window in a church. That is where George Martin sat. That is where Geoff Emerick and Phil MacDonald bent over the console, adjusting levels, shaping sound. From up there, they could see the entire studio floor. From up there, they heard everything. The staircase connects the two worlds. The world of making music and the world of capturing it. You decide to climb. You climb the staircase. The steps creak beneath you in a rhythm that feels almost musical, a slow, ascending scale in wood. At the top, a door opens into the control room. It is smaller than the studio below, 20 feet by 18, with a 10-foot ceiling. Vinyl tiles cover the floor, cool and smooth. The room feels contained, focused, like the cockpit of a ship. Everything in this room is arranged around one object, and that object dominates the space the way a grand piano dominates a drawing room. The EMI TG2345 mixing console. The console is beautiful. It curves in a gentle arc, wrapping partway around the engineer's position like a pair of open arms. The frame is made of block board faced with teak and mahogany veneer, dark and rich, the color of old library furniture. It was installed in late 1968, replacing the older RED-D51, and it transformed what was possible in this room. 24 microphone inputs, 8 tape outputs, 4 echo sends. The numbers sound modest now, in an age of infinite digital tracks. But in 1969, this console was the most advanced recording desk in the world, and the music it helped create proved it. You lean closer to the console. The surface is immaculate, every knob aligned, every fader straight. The engineers who worked this desk treated it with the respect of craftsmen for their finest tool. The teak veneer has a warmth to it, a depth of color that comes from years of careful use. You can see where hands have rested on the edge, a slight smoothing of the wood, a subtle change in the grain's texture. The console smells faintly of polish and warm electronics, a scent that is specific to recording studios, a mixture of furniture care and the quiet heat of transistors doing their work. It is a comforting smell, a working smell, the smell of a place where important things are made with patient attention. 479 knobs. You let that number settle in your mind. 479 separate controls, each one governing a different aspect of the sound passing through the desk. Equalization, compression, routing, level, pan. Each knob is a question, and the answer it gives shapes the music. The paint-on quadrant radial faders sit in rows, each one a smooth, curved arc of metal that moves with a precise, weighted resistance. You touch one with your fingertip. It moves easily, but not loosely. It has the feel of something engineered to be touched 10,000 times without wearing out. Above the faders, rows of Ernest Turner VU meters line the console like a choir. 16 full-size meters across the top, their white faces and black markings clean and precise. Below them, dozens of smaller channel meters, one for each input. All the needles rest at 0, pointing straight down, perfectly still. When the console is live and music is passing through it, these needles dance, rising and falling with the volume, twitching with each snare hit, swaying gently with a sustained vocal note. But now they are at rest. The meters are sleeping. The console is dreaming of the last session it held. You sit in the engineer's chair. It is a simple office chair, padded and well worn, positioned at the exact center of the console's arc. From here, every knob is within reach. The large window in front of you looks down into Studio 2. The studio floor is below and slightly distant, seen through thick glass. The musicians in one world, the engineer in another, connected by sound and separated by silence. Jeff Emerick sat in this chair. He was only 19 when he first engineered a Beatles session. Phil MacDonald sat here too. Between them, they captured some of the most important recordings in the history of music. The chair holds no memory of their weight. But you feel it anyway. To your right, the 3M M23 8-track tape machine stands on its own table. 2 large reels, each one a foot in diameter, mounted vertically. A length of magnetic tape is threaded through the recording heads, passing from one reel to the other in a path that curves and bends through guides and tensioners. The tape is thin, a 1/4 inch wide, and slightly rough to the touch if you run your finger along its surface. It carries a faint oxide smell, metallic and dry. Every sound that passed through the console was printed onto tape like this. Magnetic particles aligned by the music, holding it in patterns invisible to the eye, but perfectly legible to the machine. Beside the tape machine, a shelf holds boxes of tape. Each box is labeled in neat handwriting: the song title, the take number, the date. Some labels have been crossed out and rewritten as songs changed names during the recording process. The boxes are stored upright, like books on a shelf, their spines facing outward. Each one contains a reel of magnetic tape, and each reel holds a performance, a moment when musicians played and the machine listened, and the sound was fixed in patterns of magnetized iron oxide on a strip of plastic. It is a fragile medium. The tape can break. It can stretch. It can lose its magnetism over time. And yet these thin ribbons of tape hold some of the most important music ever recorded. In the equipment rack beside the console, the Fairchild 660 compressors sit in a neat row, heavy units with chrome faces and large round knobs. 12 of them, acquired from Capitol Records in 1964, and used on every Beatles session since. They compress the dynamic range of a sound, making the quiet parts louder and the loud parts softer. And in doing so, they add a warmth, a thickness, a presence that became part of the Beatles' signature sound. Vocals passed through these compressors. Drums, piano. The machines are warm to the touch even now, hours after the last session ended. They hold heat the way old amplifiers do. Reluctantly, you reach forward and touch a fader on the console. You move it upward, slowly. Nothing happens, of course. The console is off, the tape machine still. But the motion feels significant. This is the gesture that controls volume. This is the movement that brings a voice forward in a mix, or lets it recede into the background. Every decision made on this console was a fader moved, a knob turned, a button pressed. Hundreds of tiny decisions that shaped the final sound. You move the fader back to 0 and rest your hands on the edge of the console. The teak veneer is smooth and warm under your palms. Through the control room window, Studio 2 lies below you in soft darkness. From this height, you can see the full layout of the room. The microphone stands, the cable paths on the parquet floor, the piano in the far corner. The guitar stands along the wall. George Martin sat behind this glass and listened. He heard the raw sound from the studio and the shaped sound from the console, and he made judgments that guided the music toward what it was meant to become. The glass is thick. It keeps the sound of the control room from leaking into the studio. It creates two separate worlds. You are in the world of listening. Below you is the world of making. You leave the control room and descend the staircase once more. The wooden steps creak their slow scale beneath your feet. The studio floor receives you again, cool and quiet. You turn toward the far corner of the room, where dark shapes wait in the low light. The pianos. Every great recording studio has its pianos, and Abbey Roads are among the most recorded instruments in the world. They sit in the corner like old friends at the end of an evening, still and patient, holding their silence with the particular dignity of instruments that have been played by masters. The Steinway Model D concert grand stands in the center of the group. It is enormous, nearly 9 feet long, its black lacquer finish reflecting the dim studio lights in long, curved distortions. The lid is propped half open on its stick, the golden harp of strings visible inside, gleaming faintly. The Steinway Model D is considered one of the finest concert grand pianos ever built. This particular one has been in Studio 2 for years, and its voice has appeared on more recordings than anyone has bothered to count. It does not need to prove itself. It simply is. You sit on the piano bench. The wood is smooth and cool, polished by years of shifting weight. You position yourself before the keyboard and rest your hands on the keys. The ivory whites are not perfectly white. They have yellowed slightly with age and use, and some show faint wear marks where fingers have pressed the same notes thousands of times. The black keys, ebony, are smooth and narrow. The keyboard stretches before you, 88 keys, a landscape of black and white that contains every melody ever written, and every melody yet to come. You sit with your hands resting lightly on the keys and feel the potential of all that silence. The piano bench is the right height, the right distance from the keyboard. It has been positioned by pianists who knew exactly where they needed to sit, and it has stayed there, session after session, because the position was perfect. The wood is unmarked, except for a faint ring on one corner, the ghost of a teacup set down and forgotten. Even here, at one of the most famous pianos in the world, someone paused to drink tea. The thought is comforting. It reminds you that the people who made music in this room were not monuments. They were working musicians who drank tea and ate biscuits and complained about the cold, and then sat down and created something that would outlast them all. You press a single key, middle C. The hammer inside the piano strikes the string, and the note rises. In a room with an ordinary ceiling, the sound would be contained, close, intimate. But Studio 2 has a 24-foot ceiling, and the note rises into that vast space and expands. It fills the room the way light fills a cathedral. The sound is clear and round and warm, with a depth that surprises you. It hangs in the air for a long time, fading so slowly that you cannot tell exactly when it stops. The boundary between sound and silence is not a line. It is a gradual dissolve, a slow fade, like the last light of a sunset. As the note fades, other strings inside the piano begin to vibrate in sympathy. You can hear them, faint, ghostly overtones that rise and fall like whispered harmonics. The piano is responding to its own sound. Strings tuned to related frequencies pick up the vibration and add their own voices, uninvited but welcome. It is a phenomenon called sympathetic resonance, and it gives a grand piano its richness, its complexity, its sense of depth. A single note on a Steinway is never truly a single note. It is a chord, a family of frequencies, a conversation the piano has with itself. You listen until the last overtone fades into the basement air. Beside the Steinway, a smaller piano stands against the wall, an upright, older and less imposing, its wood a warm brown rather than black. This is the Mrs. Mills piano, a 1905 Steinway upright named for Gladys Mills, the British stride pianist whose energetic playing style suited its bright, slightly honky-tonk voice. The piano is over 60 years old, and it sounds its age in the best possible way. The tone is warmer, rounder, and less precise than the grand. Some of its notes sit slightly off from perfect tuning, and this imperfection gives it character. It sounds like memory. It sounds like a song you once knew and have almost forgotten. You press a key on the Mrs. Mills upright. The sound is immediately different from the Steinway. Softer, more intimate, with a warmth that wraps around the note, like felt around a hammer. This piano played on Lady Madonna, that rolling boogie-woogie bass line that McCartney hammered out with joy and precision. It played on "The Fool on the Hill," those gentle, repeated chords that rise and fall like breathing. The piano does not know it is famous. It simply does what it was built to do. It turns the weight of a finger into sound, and the sound into feeling. That is enough. That has always been enough. 2 Challen upright pianos stand nearby, smaller and more modest than the Steinway or the Mrs. Mills. They are workhorse instruments, used for rehearsals and overdubs, for trying out ideas before committing them to the grander pianos. Their sound is thin and bright compared to the Steinway, but there is an honesty to it, a directness. Sometimes a song needs the intimacy of a small piano, the sound of someone playing in a room rather than performing in a hall. The Challens have been heard on more recordings than they are credited for. They are the supporting actors of Studio 2, reliable and unassuming, always there when needed. Golden Slumbers began at a piano. McCartney was at his father's house in Liverpool when he found a piece of sheet music on the piano, a lullaby written by the Elizabethan playwright Thomas Dekker in the 17th century. Golden slumbers kiss your eyes, smiles awake you when you rise. McCartney could not read music well enough to play the original melody, so he wrote his own. A new melody for words that were nearly 400 years old. He brought it to Abbey Road, sat at one of these pianos, and recorded it in July of 1969. A lullaby from one century, carried into another by a man who heard something in the words that spoke across time. You close the lid of the Steinway gently. It descends with a soft, heavy sound, the felt-lined edge meeting the body of the piano with a cushioned thud. The last faint resonance of the strings dies away beneath the closed lid. The wood is warm under your fingertips, warm from the studio lights above, warm from the hours of sound it has absorbed and released over the years. You rest your hand there for a moment. The piano holds all the songs it has ever played, not in memory, not in mechanism, but in the wear of its keys, the patina of its wood, the precise curve of its hammers shaped by 10,000 impacts. You lift your hand and step away. You turn from the pianos and walk across the parquet floor toward the far wall. Guitar stands line the wall in a neat row, each one holding an instrument upright, necks tilted slightly back, bodies resting in padded cradles. In the low light, the guitars are shapes and shadows, the curves of a body, the straight line of a neck, the glint of metal strings catching the faint overhead light. Each guitar is different. Each one was chosen for a reason, played in a particular way, and left here when the session ended. They are waiting. Guitars always seem to be waiting. They have the patience of objects that know they will be picked up again. You stop before a Rickenbacker bass, McCartney's instrument. The body is a deep, rich color, shaped in the distinctive Rickenbacker way, angular and modern, a design that looked like the future in 1964 and still does. The strings are thick and heavy, tuned low. You touch one with your fingertip. and it vibrates faintly, a deep hum that you feel more than hear. This bass carried the low end of a decade of music. McCartney played it with a melodic inventiveness that changed what a bass guitar could be. He made it sing where others made it thump. The instrument rests on its stand, heavy and still, holding all that rhythm in its silent strings, next to the Rickenbacker, Harrison's guitars, a Fender Stratocaster with a custom-painted finish, the colors faded but still visible, a personal touch on a mass-produced instrument. Beside it, the Gibson Les Paul he called Lucy, a gift, a favorite, its sunburst finish glowing amber in the low light, and an Epiphone Casino, the hollow body guitar that all three guitarists in the band loved for its warm, resonant tone. You do not pick them up. You simply look. Each guitar holds the shape of the hands that played it. The fret wear, the pick scratches on the body, the slight discoloration of the neck where a thumb pressed again and again. You notice a guitar cable still plugged into an amplifier near the wall. The cable trails across the parquet floor in a gentle S-curve, its black rubber jacket slightly warm to the touch. The amplifier is a Fender, its cloth grille slightly dusty, its pilot light dark. When this amplifier was switched on, the valves inside would glow a soft orange, warming up slowly, the way all valve amplifiers do. A minute or two of patient heating before the first note could be played. There is something meditative about valve amplifiers. They cannot be rushed. They require you to wait, to prepare, to be still before the music begins. The cable lies on the floor like a sentence left unfinished. In the corner of the studio, away from the other instruments, stands the Moog synthesizer. It is large, a wooden cabinet the size of a wardrobe, its face covered in knobs, switches, and jack sockets. Thick rubber patch cables hang from it in loops and tangles, connecting one module to another, each cable a pathway for electrical signal. George Harrison bought this instrument in Los Angeles in late 1968 and had it shipped to his home in Esher, outside London. In August of 1969, he brought it here, to Studio 2. It was the newest thing in the room, and it looked it. Strange, futuristic, out of place among the wood and brass of the studio. The Moog is unlike anything else in Studio 2. The pianos are wood and wire and felt. The guitars are wood and metal and magnetic pickups. The drums are skin and metal and wood. Every other instrument in this room makes sound through physical vibration. A string struck, a membrane hit, a column of air set in motion. The Moog makes sound from electricity itself. Oscillators generate waveforms. Filters shape them. Amplifiers control their volume. The sound that emerges is pure and strange, warm and alien at the same time. It hums. It sighs. It can imitate a voice or produce a sound that no voice has ever made. In 1969, it was the sound of the future arriving, because the song that used the Moog most beautifully on the album. Lennon heard Yoko Ono playing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata on the piano and asked her to play the chords in reverse. From that inversion, he built a new song. 3 voices, Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison, singing in close 3-part harmony. They recorded the harmony 3 separate times and layered them together. 9 voices from 3 men. The harmonies are so close, so perfectly blended, that they seem to come from a single throat. And beneath them, the Moog plays the middle 8, a warm, wavering tone that floats under the voices like a current under still water. Near the wall, a Leslie speaker cabinet stands on the floor. It is an unremarkable wooden box, about 3 feet tall, with a cloth grille on the front. But inside, a rotating speaker spins continuously, and the motion gives the sound that passes through it a shimmering, pulsing quality. A tremolo that makes a guitar sound as if it is underwater or singing through moving air. Harrison loved the Leslie. He ran his guitar through it on many of the Abbey Road tracks, and the resulting sound, warm, liquid, shifting, became one of the album's defining textures. The cabinet stands still now. The speaker inside is motionless, but you can almost hear the shimmer. Near the drum booth, a pair of headphones hangs from a microphone stand. The foam ear pads are worn and slightly compressed from years of being pressed against ears. These are the headphones the musicians wore to hear the playback from the control room while recording their parts. The mix of what had already been recorded, played back through these small speakers pressed against their heads, while they added their own performance on top. It is a strange and intimate thing to play music while listening to music. The headphones created a private world for each musician, a world of sound that only they could hear, layered over the live sound of the studio around them. A world within a world within a room. In a partitioned area near the back of the studio, Starr's drum kit sits in its booth. Bass drum, snare, mounted toms, floor tom, hi-hat, ride cymbal, crash cymbal. The drumsticks rest on the snare head, crossed at a casual angle, as if Starr set them down and stepped away for a cup of tea. The snare drum has a particular sound in this room. Dry, crisp, with a short decay, shaped by the acoustic screens around the booth and the microphone placement above it. Starr played with a simplicity that belied enormous skill. He served the song. He never played a note that was not needed. The kit waits for hands that understand this. Here Comes. The Sun was recorded in this room in July and August of 1969. Harrison wrote it in Eric Clapton's garden on a spring day, playing Truant from a business meeting. It is a song about relief, about warmth returning after cold, about the simple joy of sunlight. They recorded 13 takes. The final one was numbered take 12 and a half, because someone in the room was superstitious about the number 13. Even in the making of something beautiful, there are small human rituals, small concessions to fear and habit. The sun came into this basement studio through the music, not through the windows. There are no windows in Studio 2. You stand in the center of Studio 2, surrounded by instruments. The Steinway and the Mrs. Mills piano behind you. the guitars along the wall, the Moog in the corner, the drums in their booth, the Leslie cabinet, the microphone stands. Each instrument is silent, but together they form a kind of orchestra at rest, a band between songs, a breath held before the next note. The room is full of potential energy. Every sound ever made here was made by these instruments, or instruments like them, played by human hands and captured by machines built for the purpose. The music is not lost. It is held here, in the wood, in the strings, in the magnetic tape upstairs, waiting to be heard again. You sit down on the wooden staircase. Halfway between the control room and the studio floor, on a step wide enough to lean back and rest your shoulders against the wall. The wood is smooth and cool beneath you. From here you can see the studio below, the instruments, the microphone stands, the cables on the parquet floor. And if you turn your head, the control room above, its window dark now. You are between two worlds, the world of making and the world of listening. You choose neither. You simply sit and breathe and let the building hold you. The building settles around you. Old buildings speak at night in the language of contraction and expansion. Wood cooling after the warmth of the day. Plaster adjusting to the temperature. Pipes ticking faintly behind the walls. These are the small sounds of a structure that has been standing for nearly 140 years. A building that has learned to hold itself together through every season. The sounds are gentle and rhythmic, like the breathing of a sleeping animal. The building is not empty. It is resting. There is a difference. The 20th of August, 1969. That was the last day all four Beatles were in this studio together. Lennon, McCartney, Harrison, and Starr in this room, working on the final overdubs and sequencing for the album. They did not announce it. They did not mark it. There was no ceremony, no farewell. They simply finished the work, set down their instruments, said goodnight, and left. They could not have known. No one ever knows when the last time is the last time. The knowledge only comes after, when the door has closed and the room is quiet. Like this. Like now. Harrison once said of the Abbey Road sessions that they did actually perform like musicians again. After months of tension and disagreement, something shifted. They returned to this room and remembered what they were. Four men who played instruments and sang together better than almost anyone who had ever lived. The album they made here is not a farewell, though it turned out to be one. It is a return, a homecoming. Four musicians finding their way back to the thing that brought them together in the first place. The music on this album is warm and generous and full of craft. It sounds like people who love what they are doing. It sounds like a room where the work is going well, but what they made did not leave with them. The music stayed, not only on the tape reels in the vault, not only in the grooves pressed into black vinyl, but here, in this room. Sound changes a room. Every note played in a space leaves a trace, in the vibration of the wood, in the settling of the dust, in the way the air moves. Studio 2 has absorbed decades of music, and if walls could play back what they have heard, the sound from these walls would be the sound of the 20th century. It is here. It is quiet. But it is here. Up in the control room, the VU meters rest at 0. The TG12345 console sits in darkness, its 479 knobs motionless, its faders at their lowest position. The 3M tape machine holds its tape in stillness, the reels balanced, the magnetic patterns on the tape undisturbed. The Fairchild compressors have cooled at last, their chrome faces dark. The room smells of warm wood and quiet electricity. Through the glass, the studio floor is a still life. Instruments and stands and cables and chairs, all exactly where they were left. A portrait of a day's work complete. Through the high windows of the studio, the sky is beginning to change. The darkness is not quite so complete. The deep black is softening to a very dark blue, the blue that comes just before the first hint of light. Dawn is approaching St. John's Wood. It approaches slowly, as London dawns always do in late summer. A gradual lightening, a gentle washing of colour back into a world that had been only shadow. The street lamps outside will begin to dim. The birds will begin to sing. The city will stir. But not yet. Not quite yet. There are still a few minutes of darkness left. A bird begins to sing outside. A single bird, somewhere in the trees along Abbey Road, testing the dawn with a tentative phrase. The song is small and clear, a melody made of instinct rather than composition, and it enters the studio through the walls as a faint, high thread of sound. It is the first living sound you have heard from outside since you entered the building. The bird does not know what this building is. It does not know what happened here. It simply sings because the light is returning, and that is what birds do. The sound is ordinary and beautiful, the way the best things always are. The first pale light touches the rooftops of St. John's Wood. The slate and tile and lead of the roofs emerge from darkness, grey and silver. The trees along Abbey Road become visible again, their leaves dark but defined against the lightening sky. The white Georgian facade of number 3 begins to glow faintly, as if lit from within. The zebra crossing on the road outside appears in the grey light, white stripes on dark asphalt, ordinary and famous, a piece of painted road that has become a symbol. In a few hours, people will come to stand on it and take photographs. But for now, it belongs to the dawn. The studio is still yours for a few more minutes. The parquet floor, worn smooth by decades of music. The wooden staircase, creaking its slow scale. The pianos holding their silence. The guitars on their stands, patient and still. The Moog in its corner, dark and quiet. The console upstairs, 479 knobs and 37 meters, all at rest. The tape machine, its reels motionless. The microphones, still pointed at the places where voices and instruments once were. This room held the sound of a generation. It held the sound of 4 men from Liverpool who walked in as boys and left as legends. The room remembers them all. You close your eyes. You lean back against the wall of the staircase and let your breathing slow. The music is everywhere and nowhere. Not a sound you can hear, but a presence you can feel. It lives in the grain of the parquet wood, in the copper wires inside the console, in the magnetic particles on the tape, in the hammers of the pianos, in the strings of the guitars, in the air between the walls, the air that has carried so many melodies, so many harmonies, so many voices, that it has become, in some way, musical itself. The silence in Studio 2 is not the absence of sound. It is the sound of everything that has ever been played here. Resting, you rest here, on the staircase of Abbey Road Studios, in the quiet company of everything they made. The night is ending. The dawn is arriving. The light will come through the windows and touch the parquet floor, and the instruments will cast long shadows, and soon the building will wake, and engineers will climb these stairs, and musicians will tune their instruments, and the tape will roll, and the music will begin again. But that is later. That is tomorrow. For now there is only this: the stillness, the warmth of the wood beneath you, the faint hum of a building at rest, the memory of music everywhere. You breathe, you are still, you drift into sleep.